One of the things that I do for a living is I take groups to Europe. Honestly, if I had my choice, if I would take you, I would go to what I call Happy Europe, which is, whatever, Spain and Italy and fun places like that. But most times I go to Sad Europe, which is basically Poland and Lithuania, and I take groups from all over the world, and I try and inspire them with our history. So the story goes, this is now 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I went to a place called Lezhensk with a group of men from, from Flatbush, Monsey, Lakewood. You get the picture. This is my chevra over there. And in Lezhensk, as you may know, is buried a great tzaddik. Who wants to finish my sentence? The Rebbe Reb Melech, right? The Rebbe Reb Melech Elimelech from Lezhensk. I have a Chassidish side to me, so whenever I go to these tzaddikim, I always first go to the mikveh. There's a mikveh right there, so I can go into the kever. I can go there with my holiness, having just been there to the mikveh. The group that I was with were a bunch of yeshiva guys. They don't do mikveh before kvarim, but two young men decided to accompany me. The rabbi, it turned out it was a blessing, because while I was there, something happened. I don't exactly know what happened. It seems to be that I slipped maybe on a bar of soap, and I woke up in a Lezhensk hospital. And basically, if you can imagine, there's a lady in the back who's eating. Can you do me a favor? Can you just raise your sandwich just for one moment for everyone to look at? Imagine that's my arm over there, okay? You see how it's cut in the middle? It's cut in the middle. That's what it was. I still have a bone sticking out, exactly. And it was also cut 3 ways times this way. So thank you. You did this on cue. It was perfect. So that's my arm was broken in several places, and I endured incredible pain. I woke up, my hand was the size of a balloon. I didn't know what was happening. It was just at the end of Corona. Remember Corona? Remember those days? Corona? So the only person that was allowed to accompany me was Wojtek, my Polish driver. And he was trying to explain that I had completely lost all sense of my arm. So you can close your eyes and you can touch your nose like this, but I did not know where my hand was. My hand did not exist. The nerves, nothing was connected, nothing existed except for my pain. And at this point now, I saw what they were doing. They took a photograph. I saw what was happening. I heard them say, we have to bang bones together, right? They were talking about, the doctors discussing. Now, when I say it was a hospital, it wasn't a hospital like you and I know hospitals. It was more like a Dracula's castle, I want to suck your blood. I don't know what was going on over there. But you can't actually see patients. You just hear the moans and the cries from the distance. And I heard them that they wanted to literally bang my bones together. And we have no nails. One person was complaining, I have a friend, okay, he have nails, he is carpenter. I did not know what was going on. Okay, I was picturing them like smashing my bones together. I knew this was not good. I called up my friend. Could be some of you know him. Dr. Michael Wilshansky, Hadassah Hospital. Anybody know him? Willie, childhood friend from England. I called him up. He was watching a football game in a pub here in Yerushalayim. I'm not going to go into the details, but Harry Kane had just scored for England. So basically, he assumed that's why I was calling. He was like, go. I said, Willie, okay. I said, no. This is step out. I know I know England's beating Denmark, like woohoo, but you step out. This is your best friend. We grew up together. I need you now. I need you. I explained to him what was going on. Suddenly he became very serious. He says, get out of that hospital, get into your taxi, go straight to Warsaw Airport, fly to Yerushalayim. Here, we'll take care of you, which is what happened. He took care of me, and a lot of incredible miracles happened to me once I arrived in Eretz Yisrael. But the first thing we had to do was literally escape from this hospital. Okay, and this was me, like my broken arm, the whole thing with the pain. They had put me on these happy drugs. I don't want to go into details, but the happy drugs made me happy, but did not really take away the essential pain itself. And literally, I told Wojtek to find his inner Jason Bourne, right, to get in there, to run away, to jump. We picked up one of the chevra from the group, one of the senior members of the group, joined us, and this was it. The three of us were heading to Warsaw, And this is happening at nighttime. So we're driving all night long. Now, about 4 hours into this drive, I suddenly noticed that Wojtek, my driver, is starting to swerve. He's falling asleep at the wheel. So now I have a whole new set of problems, okay? I say, Wojtek, I says, okay, this is ridiculous. Just get off the highway, get into the first forest you find, and get some sleep for half an hour. We need to live. We need to make it to the airport. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi. We veer off. We go into this forest. He stops the car. Within seconds, he's asleep. Seconds later, Dove is asleep. And suddenly, I find myself in the following situation. Now, I want you to understand, okay? I cannot sleep over here. What I'm feeling is this waves and waves of pain going like this. And Hashem decided to torture me in a very exquisite way at that moment then. Why? Because both Wojtek and Dove, my friend, were both snoring. But they were snoring in harmony. Wojtek had like the high notes. He had some kind of a nasal situation. So picture King David's harp, but instead of harp strings, it was his nose strings. And this was basically, he was going like that thing, and Dove was doing like this deep thing. And I said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't know what Gehenna is like, but this is how I imagine it. And at this point now, I start to think, and I start to think with clarity. I do not know how I'm going to do anything with my life. At this moment now, my life had come to basically, it had been halted. I don't want to go into details, but just think about it. Without an arm, how do you do basic acts of hygiene? Okay, I'm not going to go into the details. With one hand. And okay, I tell you what I can say. Try doing your laces with one hand. Apparently it can be done. One of my students showed me how. I hate her because she could do it. Right? She was what's it called? One of those people that work with occupational therapists. She showed me how to do it in the Vega. And seriously, I've never forgiven her for that for that. You know, she showed me that it can be done. Of course, in real life, you can't do it. Bottom line is, for the next 3 months, my children had to take care of everything. I did not sleep in a bed for 3 months. I wasn't able to put on my tefillin, anything, nothing. For 3 months, my life was Gehenna. But that moment in that forest, I had a certain clarity that I've never had in my life. You see, I'm a tefillah teacher. I always teach tefillah. I'm always trying to get, you got to daven, like the whole thing. You got to say Tehillim. I'm always like, rah, rah, rah. At that moment then, I felt a sense of vulnerability that I don't remember ever having in my life. There was unique pain that I was going through, both physical and emotional. I could hear the sounds of bears in the forest. Of course, it's my imagination, but the wolves, the ow, ow, that was definitely there. And it was pitch black dark, and I'm there alone with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but for the first time, it wasn't just words, I meant it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you've got this. Okay, it is completely and totally in your hands. And I don't wish upon anyone the feelings of pain that I had at that moment. The whole thing was a big joke. I'll tell you why. Because when I woke up Wojtek, I asked him, how far are we from the airport? He said, about 20 minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay, we were literally 20 minutes away from the airport. We could have gone straight there. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted me to feel that moment of extreme pain, of extreme vulnerability, and with that, the extreme clarity that we are all in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hands, that all my other tefillos cannot bring me. And this is really what I wanted to share with you today. I wanted to share with you that no one in this room wants to experience pain, emotional or physical or otherwise. But sometimes, and unfortunately, we all know this, these things happen. And we're living in an age the last 2 months where there's been a lot of pain. I'm not a soldier, but I have a lot of beloved friends. I mentioned my friend Dr. Wolshansky. He has 3 sons that are fighting. My sister has 3 sons. It's secondary pain of what they're going through. It's late at night thinking about the hostages. Everyone over here knows what I mean when I talk about that secondary pain that we feel, thinking about what people are going through, what it means to be fighting in those awesome situations that our soldiers are going through right now as we speak. But I want to share with you that this pain has to be seen for each one of us as an individual, as an opportunity. And I want to expand on this just a little bit. What I want to share with you, I have the exact quote in front of me. Unfortunately, what we're going through now in history is something that you and I have seen many times in our own lives, but it is basically a constant in history. Basically, the children of Ishmael and the children of Esav, they, as they always have, are following a script. Nothing is really new about what's going on. The children of Ishmael, we know about the children of Ishmael. The children of Esav, the explosion of anti-Semitism that we've seen in the last 2 months, is following a pattern. Esav, Seina es Yaakov, I always say that with a non-Jew, there is what's called a recessive gene. Okay, you don't necessarily activate it. They can go their whole lives without it being activated. But given the right circumstances, this recessive gene will come out, and the person sitting next to you on a college campus in Harvard suddenly looks at you differently. How does it happen? It happened because Chazal tell us, it goes back thousands of years. Esav, Seina es Yaakov. Yishmael is extraordinary. I'm just reading a medrash. It feels like I'm reading today's newspapers. This medrash is in Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, Perek Lamed Beis. Lama nikra Shema Yishmael. Why are they called Yishmael? She'asid HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'shmoya l'kol na'akas ha'am. There'll come a time when HaKadosh Baruch Hu will hear na'akas ha'am, the pain, the groans of his people. That's us, Klal Yisrael. My Rebbe, Reb Moshe Shapiro, who I mentioned earlier, points out this word na'aka is used in Parsha Shemos to describe the pain the Jewish people had in Egypt when they were suffering underneath the Egyptians. Today, we're going to have that na'aka once again. And he continues, Mimasha asidim b'nei Yishmael la'asis ba'aretz ba'achris hayamim. The pain of the Jewish people that will be expressed for what the children of Ishmael will do to us at the end of days. We're in the land of Israel. Lefikach nikra shema Yishmael. That's why they are called Ishmael. Shenema, he brings the pasuk in Tehillim Perek Nun Hey, Yishmakel v'yanem. Yishmakel, God will listen to us, v'yanem, and will answer our tefillos, and that is how the story is going to end. There's going to be a moment, and this, ladies, I just want to emphasize, I'm reading to you, Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer was written 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, Rabbi Eliezer, Haggadah, Rabbi Eliezer, the teacher of Rabbi Akiva, told us what is happening today, that we will be back in the land of Israel, and we will be suffering for the children of Ishmael, and we will cry out to God, and God will answer us. So we all know, secretly every person in this country knows, that diplomacy is not going to solve this problem. Militarily, we hope that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give us a pause. But we know that it's not going to permanently solve the problem. So we'll crush Hamas, and then tomorrow it'll be, I don't want to say, I don't want to pischem peh, but we have enough enemies to take their place. That's just sold on Shabbos, that these million of children that we're trying to protect. In 10 years' time, they're going to follow the Messiah of the Tata. That's what's going to happen over here. They're following the script. The children of Esav are following the script. Klal Yisrael, we are the ones that know something new, and we always experience new because pain is always fresh. When we say that we are following a script, it's not really true because we have choices. The pain is a constant, the pain that everyone in this room feels, and the extreme pain that people who are on the front lines and the hostages are feeling, that does not follow a script because we have choices. We have choices how to deal with that pain. That's what I want to speak about over the next 25 minutes, if I may. I just want to expand a little bit about how to interpret and how to deal with that pain. So I want to share with you a story. I'm asking the ladies in front of me to interrupt me the moment you figure out who this story is about. Okay? It's open forum over here. I'm not a lecturer, I'm a teacher. So if you know what I'm talking about, you just can scream it out. Rabbi Nissel, we know exactly who you're talking about. Once upon a time, there was an old man who lived a life where he had no end to his suffering. He was never married. He was now in his late 70s, had not slept for ages, and he has someone who's trying to kill him. And he's running away from that person killing, and he's going towards danger. Everything he's ever had, every wealth he's ever earned has been stolen from him. And he finds himself in a moment of complete and total pitch black darkness. And in that moment, he turns to the one and only in praise. Yaakov Avinu, thank you very much. Okay, so I see a few of you murmuring the word Yaakov Avinu. I presented it backwards without telling you what it is, because when you and I grew up, I'm talking about me, where are my fellow Brits? Where are you? Okay, so you know, remember Dick Whittington? Okay, or The Wizard of Oz? Okay, you picture Yaakov Avinu going out, okay, or off to sea. Like it's some kind of like there was some kind of a nobleness, a nobility, and drama by him going out to build his family. It wasn't that way. Yaakov Avinu, let's go over this slowly. Yaakov Avinu, he left home at 63. He went for 14 years to learn in the yeshiva of Shem Ve'ever, a place without benches, right? He did not sleep. It said he had not slept for 14 years. Eliphaz had stolen everything he owns. Esav had already made it l'chaim. Rashi brings down the Koshel Tanchum. He had already made l'chaim. Esav considered Yaakov as good as dead. Who was waiting for him at the other end? Lavan. Eliphaz had stolen everything, and now here he is, this elderly man, never married, no children, nothing, on his own. He finds himself in this place that you and I know is the place of the future Beis HaMikdash, and there he unleashes a power in tefillah that reverberates until the end of time, that you and I, every single time we daven tefillas, Arvis, Mariv, every time we daven the Mariv, we plug into that moment. So for a lot of ladies over here, this is going to be new information. Mariv is the prototype of tefillah in pain. Mariv is the first time that we have in the Torah tefillah in pain. David HaMelech took it from Yaakov, so I'm not going to explain this to you now because this is not the agenda of today's class. But as you all know, that the 24 hours is divided into 4 parts. So originally Avram Avinu corresponded to the morning, Yitzchak corresponded to the afternoon, therefore Avram gives us Shacharis, Lahagid Baboike Chasdecha, and then B'tzarayim, when the sun is setting, that's the Gevurah of Yitzchak Avinu and his Mincha. Yaakov took the night. But Yaakov's great-great-great-great-great-grandson, David HaMelech, took the second half of the night and gave us a thing called Tehillim. So Tehillim corresponds to from midnight until the sunrise, and Tehillim is what today is our custom. Many ladies in front of me do not daven Mariv. I, as a tefillah teacher, never tell my students to daven Mariv. You have enough on your shoulders. You don't need to add more prayers, but the idea of Mariv and what Mariv represents, the idea of tefillah in pain, the idea of tefillah for the nighttime, that is something that we need to connect to, especially in these days. In practice, it means, I heard the last few minutes of Rebbetzin Pearl, right? She spoke about the power of Tehillim. And Tehillim, okay, is basically our go-to of how we express our pain. Tehillim is like a joker in a pack of cards that allows all our anxiety, all our angst, all that we're going through to be expressed through the ancient words of David HaMelech. But the bottom line is that Yaakov Avinu, he represents tefillah in pain. He represents the Av, the forefather, that lived a life that from beginning till end, until Parshas Vayechi, where he finally gets that tranquility that he craved to be able to elevate himself even further, that last 17 years of his life, where he was in Galus in Egypt. But nevertheless, Yaakov represents the forefather in pain, and he gave us a tefillah that corresponds to nighttime. So let's talk for a few minutes about night. You and I have forgotten what it is, the power of night. Why? Because of light, electricity. So you and I, when the moment it gets dark, we put the lights on. And it makes our lives, the quality of our lives, consistently filled with light. If we lived 150 years ago, and if we were the average person, which means that we were in poverty, we couldn't necessarily afford candles. Let's say we're going back before before Thomas Edison, before there was any form of light. So what do you have a choice? Candles, right? Wax or oil? Make a fireplace. What happens if you could not afford it? So when it turned dark, you will plunge into darkness. And if it was the beginning of the month, you will plunge into true darkness. I remember, I'm sorry to share with you something funny. When I was 17 years old, I grew up in London. I was a very naughty boy in those days. And what can I tell you? I once had a friend of mine, his parents owned a farmhouse in a place called Kent, out in the countryside. We used to go there for weekends, and one Motzei Shabbos, I decided I wanted to see demons. My teacher in Hasmonean taught me that if you go to a place where there's no natural light, far away from anything, you take a candle, you take a mirror, he told me what to do, you can get to see demons. And I don't know why, but in my teenage mind, I thought it would be a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, I walked out there, midnight, deep into the fields of Kent, far away from London, and I did put the candle on, mirror, and I screamed when I saw that face. I was terrified. Oh my God, I did not realize it was so scary. But there it was, okay, a demon. Later on, of course, I realized I was just looking at my reflection, but until that moment, I had that moment of terror. I knew what it was. It was the power of night. In our religion, night, everything comes to a standstill. Beis Din cannot convene at night. The Beis Hamikdash is quiet at night. Nothing is happening except for the burning of the fats. I know it sounds like an aerobics workout, but the burning of the fat, that's all that happens. There's no mitzvah. The Vilna Gaon writes, there's no mitzvah that belongs to the night that comes from the Torah that is specifically, uniquely night focus. Except for one night in the year, says the Vilna Gaon, which is filled with mitzvos. Because that night is a taste of a future world when night is banished, and that is Seder night. Where would you find this Vilna Gaon? On the words, Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol halaylas. He translates, the child asks the father, what's going on here? Suddenly night is behaving like day. Let me quote to you from the words of the Maharal of Prague. Maharal of Prague, in his classic sefer, Nesiv Solam, Nesiv Havoda, his essays on Tefillah, in the 6th chapter, he writes the following words. He says, my definition of night is, and I quote, Heder hametzios, the absence of reality. It's hard to translate the word mitzios. It's not a word that you could translate, but the absence of reality. True nighttime, there's no sense of time and there's no sense of space. If you find yourself in pitch black, you don't know what time it is, and you don't know where you are. There's no sense of depth. We need to be able to see 3 dimensions. But in pure pitch black darkness, there's no time and there's no space. That is called the absence of reality. In that world, Yaakov Avinu gives us the prayer called the prayer of pain, the prayer called Mariv. In that world, Yaakov Avinu, who was experiencing at that moment extreme pain, he finds himself in the place of the future Beis Hamikdash, a few miles from where we are now. And in that world, he expresses to Kadosh Baruch Hu this incredible feeling of vulnerability that he sees with clarity that he's completely and totally in Hashem's hands. So I want to show you something very beautiful. Let me summarize what I've said so far. We see nighttime as an opportunity. The whole world escapes from the night. The whole world either sleeps, which is like obvious, or you party at night. You don't want to think about the night. You want to disconnect from reality at night. You look at a screen, or you go, you do anything you can not to think about that we're not in control at night. I want to show you something incredible. I'm going to show you something that you all know, but maybe you never really thought about how powerful this idea is. Something else that the nighttime has that is a unique gift from Yaakov Avinu. I'm going to use a mashal to explain how this works over here. Imagine that you are conducting a survey in the secular world. So my next 5 minutes, I'm going to be giving you a secular narrative. You go to the secular world. You go to a shopping mall. somewhere near you. Us Brits, we go to Brent Cross, wherever it is. But wherever you are in America or South Africa, wherever you go to the local shopping mall and you ask people the following question. Would you rather be young or would you rather be old? In other words, if you could live for 10 years, from either 15 or 20 to 25 or 65 to 75. What? Can I just tell you something? I got a wake-up call last week. I don't know if you know, but I have a cousin called Rafi Nissel. So Rafi Nissel is my first cousin. He lives in Los Angeles. Beloved cousin. He was on the way to shul. He was beaten up. And him with his wife, Rivka. It was anti-Semitism. Again, right there in Beverly Hills. He's on the way to shul. He got 5 stitches. Doesn't make any difference. Bottom line is that he's a fighter. He's a fighter. He went to shul, and they were waiting for him because they needed a Bal Korah. So he managed to, but he was in the LA Times. What shook me up is that it was said in the LA Times, it said, an elderly couple, because my cousin, she's 70, he's 75. I mean, these are my cousins. Then I remember that I'm 62, and I said, oh my gosh, yeah, these things happen in life. So let's not think about this too much, okay? It's just a number. You're as young as you want to be. Anyhow, whatever. So let us continue. I'm just making a point. People are obsessed with youth. It's just a fact. You go to the front cover of any magazine, they love young people. They are the beautiful people. They idolize athletes. Athletes, as you all know, they are basically, we have today Ronaldo and Messi, the 2 greatest football players, soccer players. They are now at the twilight of their careers. One goes to Saudi, one goes to America because they hit their 30s. This is what happens. And the athletes, they basically go downhill in their 30s. In the world of acting, if you're a female, and nothing personal, but that's it. Whoever is the beauty queen of today, she knows she's finding a time bomb. In 10 years' time, she will basically, unless her name is like Meryl Streep, she's going to have to find some kind of side job. It's the way these things work. Everything goes downhill. I was in university in London, and one of the girls over there was from Northern Scotland. I can't do a Scottish accent, but I do a good Irish one. He says, a woman's like a Christmas pudding. Everyone waits till the 26th. If you're not eaten by then, you grow old and moldy. That's it, okay? 26, downhill. So I want to show you something incredible. What is it about the glamour of youth? What is it that people who are in their teens, and we have children, some of us have grandchildren, I had a bar mitzvah of an Anikel last week. Okay, we know that they live in this world that is just beautiful. There's some kind of a freedom that young people have. What is so beautiful about that age group? So you can give me many answers. Some of you are thinking, well, they should see what medicines I take. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Something much simpler, something much simpler. The beauty of youth is the beauty of the power of possibilities, is the world of choices. When you're young, you can do whatever you want. So my granddaughter, who's 14 years old, she can wake up in the morning and she can dream whatever she wants. She wants to be a ballerina, she wants to be a dancer, she wants to be an actress, she wants to be a musician, she wants to be a poet or writer, or she could be, a Nobel Prize winner in physics. She could become a politician, Hashem should bless her. Okay, whatever it is. She could do what she wants. The world is her oyster. The freedom of choices, the freedom of dreams. And you and I'm talking about those of you in my age group. It's just already full disclosure, I'm 62, right? They're in my age group. So we want our kids to dream. It's important to dream. And dreaming is beautiful. But the point is that those dreams start to disappear. Just like as nighttime turns into day, those dreams disappear. As daytime turns into night, those dreams disappear as you start to make choices. So what do you do? At some point, you choose whatever, your yeshiva, your seminary, then you choose your college, you choose a career. And that's it. You become if you're like a frum girl today, a something therapist. That's it. I mentioned occupational therapy. That's what you're going to be doing. 99, 98. This is what you do. You sit there and you work with the arm. I remember this because I had this occupational therapy with my arm. That's it. And then you finish that. You try the. This is what you do. You dream about marriage. Oh, it's going to be so beautiful and romantic and everything like that. And finally you meet the right guy. And then that's it. The day after Sheva Brachas, you know the smell of his socks. It's over with. Okay, welcome to the real world. So, yeah. I still have, I'm the spoke boy, I still have the magic hamper. You never know, you ladies know what the magic hamper is? You don't know what the magic is because you're not a male. We men have magic hampers. It's basically a thing in my bedroom where I put dirty clothing in, and I don't know how it happens, but magically it gets empty, and then I get my clothes clean. I don't know how it happens. It's one of the mysteries of marriage. Anyhow, what's my point? My point is that that's it. Suddenly, you find yourself trapped. At some point in your 20s, do not try and fight it. You will be married, you will have your career, you will be probably living in New Jersey raising obnoxious kids. That is the rule of life. Do not try and fight it. And that's it. Now, I used the metaphor of day and night. I want to use another metaphor with you. Summer and winter. You feel existentially that the summer of your life is turning into winter. Everything's becoming cold. You turn 30, that's it. You're stuck. There's no place to go. You look in the mirror, oh my gosh, I have an extra chin. I have nothing fits me anymore. I hate the music that my kids listen to. You turn 40, and then it comes really, really bad because you realize that one of the girls in your class has just become a grandmother. And there's just no place for you to move. And then the fun starts at 50. And here, I don't get into detail because this is too close to too many of us. When you turn 50, the doctor will introduce you to medical terms that you did not know existed, like colonoscopy. We're just trying to find out what's happening. It's not a big deal. Well, it's not a big deal. Some kid half my age is going to put rubber tubing in me. I don't think so. And wait till you taste what you have to drink before, and it's like goat spit. And this is what happens, okay? We go through this. You turn 60. Okay, we'll maybe stop there, okay? But this is it. Every sudden thing becomes real and frightening until the kids say, okay, mom and dad, becoming a bit of a burden. Let's send them down to South Florida. And let them enjoy the winter of their lives, at least in a warm place. And that's it. You get up at 4 in the morning, you go to the local shopping center looking for the latest experience in soft yogurt. And complain about why the kids don't call, but don't worry, Wednesday night is Mahjong, where you get to meet your friends. Okay, that's it, and see who's still around. And it's just depressing. That's the way it goes. Life goes downhill. Life turns from summer into winter. Light turns from daytime into nighttime. Comes along Yaakov Avinu and says, Sheker! I, Yaakov Avinu, live in the world of truth. In the world of truth, there is nothing more disarming and nothing more fake and nothing more distracting than the world of choices until you turn it into something real, until you plant it into seeds. How beautiful is the Jewish language? One of the words for youth is Yemei Charfi. It literally means the days when I'm sharp, but it can also mean the days of my winter. Yaakov says, live in the world of truth. Do not be distracted. Focus and plant seeds. When you're young, plant seeds. Zechar barecha b'mei b'chorasecha. Remember God when you're young. Plant seeds, build, build, build. Do not get distracted. And then when you get older, you start to see the fruits of your labors. And it gets better and better and better as you get old. When you start to see what you did when you were young turning into fruit. And this is the greatest proof there's a world to come. Because if it gets better and better as you get older, then surely after you die, I'm talking about things that are not physical, the truly important things in our life, the things that are the source of true joy, if it gets better and better, then surely it will continue after we die. Comes along Yaakov Avinu and says, I want to teach the world. We Jews see everything the opposite of the rest of the world. The whole world, day turns into night. The whole world Summertime and the living is easy. Fish is jumping. Anyone know that reference? Okay? Turns into winter. No, 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 no. Senoras, this is not us Jews. We start off with winter. We plant seeds. It turns into summer. Nighttime is the greatest gift of all. Nighttime, says Yaakov Avinu, nighttime is where there's no distractions. There's no thought that we are in control. We know it's all God. We know we are totally in his hands. We have complete and absolute clarity. In that world, we turn to Hashem in prayer. And then Hashem can open infinite doors for us. There's no end to the possibilities that are open for us. I teach teenagers, and I teach college, seminaries and yeshivas, and I always tell them, I says, your world is so distracting. You can spend 5-6 hours a day looking at a screen. You'll never get that time back. Those 5-6 hours, you could be making an impact in the world. You could be studying. You could be building yourself. You could be doing acts of chesed. There's so much that you can do. Don't waste your time when you're young. Plant seeds. And you will be the biggest beneficiary when you get older. It just gets better and better and better and better. So let's get back to how we started over here. I don't know what's happening in history. I come from the school of thought that we don't predict. I don't know what's going to be tomorrow. All my Rebbeim said, don't talk about Gog and Magog and this. It's not going to help you, because whatever you say, you don't know. We don't work for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're down here trying to do the best that we can. The only thing that we know today with extreme clarity is that we're in his hands. This is something that Simchas Torah, which we're still trying to process, but Simchas Torah gave us his clarity. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us an incredible army. We saw what Hashem lets us do during the 6-day war. HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Simchas Torah says, I don't know what he's saying, but one thing we saw for clear. If Hashem says no, it's no. Hashem says no, it's no. And my friends who are fighting, actually when I say my friends, to be honest with you, it's the children of my friends who I've spoken to. They've said they've seen miracles after miracles. The famous saying, every bullet has an address. They know that. They don't say it. They feel it in their guts. They see how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is holding their hands in the battles that they're going through. There's a clarity that we have not had since Yaakov Avinu, that first Marav, in that world of darkness. You connect to the world of MS in a totally different way. Today, the most connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the whole planet are soldiers on the front line. And Bli Ayin Hara, Hashem should give them all the Siyata D'Shmaya in the world. These people are extraordinary, the clarity that they have. And we, as I mentioned earlier, we're the next level. We feel their pain vicariously for what they're going through and the hostages. And we have to try and reconnect to that world of total clarity. Keichi v'aitzim yari, that went out in Simchas Torah. That the Goyim are going to be there for us. Okay, I'm British. Where are my friends? BBC? I think not. Okay, it's not happening. Okay, we are on our own. This is Klal Yisrael. Ki ish echad b'lev echad. We have each other. That's all we had. Am levadet yishkon. The Jewish people are more connected in my feelings. I haven't felt this way since the Yom Kippur War. I'm old enough to remember those days. The sense of Klal Yisrael reconnecting. I don't want to say terrible things, but I said this over to a leader of a big Kiruv organization. Hamas gave us in one day what your Kiruv organization could not achieve in 10 years. What do I mean? The Gemara says in Megillah that when Achashverosh gave his ring to Haman, it was more powerful than all the Nevi'im and Nevi'os. In one day, we have that sense of clarity, that Klal Yisrael, we're in this together. We're brothers and sisters. Doesn't matter what you believe and what your hashkafa is, we're one nation. And we have what Yaakov Avinu taught us, this Tfilas Marav that morphed into the Tehillim of David HaMelech. We have that special connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I want to conclude with what we say in Yiddish, Chaparine. Okay, these moments of clarity that we have over here, these moments that it's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We put himself into his hands, we become infinitely powerful. We put ourselves into his hand, we become like Yaakov Avinu. When he finished that Marav, he opens his eyes, what does he see? He sees a ladder. Where does the ladder go? The Ramban says, to the end of time. The Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim says, to the highest of the highest universe. The man of darkness, the man who is nothing, becomes infinite and sees to the very, very end. And he never got to see the downfall of Rome. But you and I can feel in our gut that what I read to you half an hour ago is very, very close. And I want to conclude once again that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lama Nikra Yishmael, why is it the last enemy of the Jewish people before Mashiach is Yishmael? She'asid HaKadosh Baruch Hu lishmaya l'kol na'akas ha'am. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will listen. It's a guarantee. This has been written 2,000 years ago. Everything else that was written by Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer has already become true. So this will also come true. The pain, the groans of Klal Yisrael. Mimasha asidim Yishmael las, it's ba'aretz in the land of Israel. Ba'achas hayamim, that's now. Lefikach nikra shmo Yishmael. You know why? Yishmakel. Hashem will listen. V'yaneim, and He will answer our tefillos meher v'yameinu. Thank you for listening.